Thank you for running this meeting, Rudy. As you might be able to hear, it's a little loud where I am, so thanks.
Yeah, we got you in attendance. Obviously, Bernie is with us, but isn't able to act as chair tonight, so I guess I got to earn the money tonight. We'll call the public meeting to order. And I've asked Carrie to introduce the resolutions to make my life a little simpler and try instead of trying to bounce electronics back and forth.
Okay, so resolution reads as follows, that the September 1st, 2022 public meeting of the Lakehead Rural Planning Board be opened, the time being 5:31 p.m.
I need a mover and a seconder, please.
Gordon.
And Axel.
Noisy.
Anyone opposed to that motion? Motion is carried.
Okay, the second resolution is that the September 1st, 2022 public meeting agenda of the Lakehead Rural Planning Board be approved as presented.
I need a mover and a seconder, please.
Moved.
David and Alex. Anyone opposed? That one carries.
Okay.
Any declarations, disclosures of pecuniary interest? Hearing and seeing none, I will ask Carrie to introduce the applications.
This application that we have on the table this evening is application 1B2422. This application is from Ryan Begal, acting as agent for Brandon Ranta for the property known locally as 4088 Dog Lake Road. The intent of the proposed lot addition is to transfer approximately 1.5 hectares of land from the Ranta parcel at 4088 Dog Lake Road to the abutting Begal property at 4128 Dog Lake Road, which would leave Ryan's parcel with a total of 2.56 hectares and the Ranta property at 39 hectares. Both the existing lots are used for residential purposes and are privately serviced. The subject property fronts on Dog Lake Road in Gorham Township, is designated as rural in the official plan and zone rural in our zoning bylaw. The properties are abutted by additional rural lots with some commercial directly to the north. The proposed lot addition doesn't affect area or setback minimums negatively. Both properties will remain legal in size. It is the board's responsibility to ensure that lots are buildable, which requires that there be proof of water. Both lots currently have existing dwellings with private services. Agency comments were received from Hydro One stating that they have no comments or concerns. Enbridge commented that there are service lines in the area. Any service relocation required due to the severance is at the cost of the property owner. And we received comment from Mines stating that the subject property is of non-mining land tenure. No comments were received from members of the public. So it would be my recommendation that application for consent 1B2422 for a lot addition be approved with the usual conditions.
Thank you, Carrie. I don't think there's any members of the public interested in this application, but just in case, if there are, now's the time to ask if you have wish to speak for or against the application. All right, any questions from any of the board members about this application? Then we will move on.
The second and last application of the evening is application 1B2522. This application comes from Sarah Henney, acting as agent on behalf of herself and her partner Matt Henney for the property known as being located on Highway 590 and including fire number 291 in the township of O'Connor. The application proposes to create one new lot of 4.04 hectares, leaving a retained parcel of 56.97 hectares. The subject property fronts on Highway 590, is designated as rural in the official plan and zoned rural in their zoning bylaw. The properties are abutted by additional rural lots. The proposed severed and retained lots meet both the area and frontage requirements of the rural zone. The proposed new lot will front on Highway 590 and requires an entrance permit through the MTO should one not already exist. The owner currently owns a portion of Highway 590, also shown in the images that were attached to your report. And the owner and myself are both hoping to transfer that property to the MTO. I have reached out to them, but I have not received comment back at this point. It doesn't impact the severance in any way. It's just to clean that up. The agency comments we received were from Hydro One stating that they have no comments or concerns. Enbridge stating that there are service lines in the area and any service relocation is at the expense of the property owner. Mines commented that the property is of non-mining land tenure, and we received comments from the Conservation Authority stating that they have no objections. The majority of the property being created is wetland, but the Conservation Authority believes that there's enough space left for it to still be a buildable lot. We did not receive comment from public. O'Connor's council is not meeting to discuss the application until September 12th. That is within the appeal period of this application. So their comments would come at a time that it's still applicable to this application, should there be any. When I spoke with the township office, they stated that there is a hydrant, I believe, on this property now, and there's an entrance off of the highway for the hydrant, but whether or not that would apply to it being a residential lot in the future, they weren't sure. So that they were going to clarify what that looked like by resolution of the council at that time. If necessary, we can bring this application back even after it's approved, should it be approved this evening, and add a condition. So it's my recommendation at this point that the application be approved with the usual conditions, as well, including a condition that the MTO issue in writing a confirmation that an entrance permit will be granted on the new lot, as well that we receive O'Connor Council's comments back with no concerns.
Thank you, Carrie. I see the applicant or one of the applicants is online. Do you wish to add anything to the information that Ms. Reed has shared with us?
No, that's everything.
Thank you. Anyone from the public wishing to speak against this application? Board members, do you have any questions about this application? All right, then I think it's time to adjourn the public meeting.
Okay, I have a resolution stating that the September 1st, 2022 public meeting of the Lakehead Rural Planning Board be adjourned, the time being 5:38 p.m.
Anyone opposed? Then the public meeting is closed. Thank you.
Sorry, Rudy, can I get a mover and a seconder?
Oh, sorry. That would help, right? Yeah, Gordon and David and Gordon. Sorry. Yeah. I'm keen to get out of here too.
Okay, so now we have a resolution that the September 1st, 2022 regular meeting of the Lakehead Rural Planning Board be opened, the time being 5:38 p.m.
Well, let's try that properly now. A mover and a seconder, please. Axel,
I'll second.
and David, thank you. Anyone opposed? The regular meeting is open.
Okay, second resolution is that the September 1st, 2022 regular meeting agenda of the Lakehead Rural Planning Board be approved as presented.
A mover and a seconder, please. Gordon and Alex. Anyone opposed? We have an agenda. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest? Seeing none. I'm not aware of any visitors or deputations. And then we will do the bylaws.
Okay, so do you want me to read the resolution first and then we can discuss?
Yep.
Okay, so the resolution states that the application 1B2422 from Ryan Begal, acting as agent for Brandon Ranta for the property described as concession 4 north of the part of lot 16, reference plan PAR 427, part 1, parcel 14671 TBF, Gorham Township in the geographic district of Thunder Bay, known locally as 4088 Dog Lake Road, as set forth in the application, be approved with conditions.
A mover and a seconder for that one, please. Alex and Axel. I guess we should ask for an affirmative vote this time because this is a formal bylaw. So all in favor? Anyone opposed? Then that one carries.
Second resolution reads that the application 1B2522 from Sarah Henny, acting as agent on behalf of herself and her partner Matt Henny for the property described as O'Connor Concession 6 North Part Lot 3, Parcel 5250, DFWF, known locally as being on Highway 590 and including fire number 291 in the Township of O'Connor, as set forth in the application, be approved with conditions.
A mover and a seconder, please. Gordon and David. Any discussion on the bylaw? All in favor? Opposed, if any? Congratulations, Ms. Henny.
Sarah, before you leave, the notice of decision will be sent out by email next Wednesday. That will start your 20-day appeal period. All the conditions will be laid out in the notice of decision for you. If you have any questions after you receive the decision, you can give us a call.
Thank you.
All right, then. Next resolution is the minutes for August the 4th.
Okay, so resolution reads that the Lakehead Rural Planning Board approves the minutes of the August 4th, 2022 public meeting as presented.
A mover and a seconder, please. Axel and Alex. Anyone opposed? The minutes are carried.
Okay, next resolution that the Lakehead Rural Planning Board approves the minutes of the August 4th, 2022 regular meeting as presented.
A mover and a seconder then for the minutes of the regular meeting. Gordon. Axel. Anyone opposed? Minutes carry. Any matters arising from the minutes?
None from me.
Anything from the board? And we move on. Financials as of August the 24th were included in the package. That would be for information. Any questions for Carrie on the financials?
I would like to add that we received our invoice from our legal representatives on the Solinsky file as well. So that's a large chunk that will be showing in the financials for September.
Okay.
Bernie and I will issue that check in the next week or two.
All right. We have some correspondence. I think it's mostly for information. There is a notice from the municipality of Neving that they're having a public meeting to look at their revised official plan. As well, and notice, sorry?
Comment on that? We had the meeting and
Oh, you did? That's right, yeah.
no one showed up.
Well, you did your due
Look.
diligence.
Council showed up, but nobody from the public. Yeah. We dotted that I and crossed that T. That's what we did.
Exactly.
Yep.
So nobody was worried about the minor variance either.
Well, those haven't come up yet. They're on next Wednesday.
And the severance as well?
Yeah, Wednesday.
No, I don't.
I don't
recall
see any.
there's- Don't think there's anything particularly that we need to be concerned about.
No.
And then from the city of Thunder Bay, a couple of public meetings for zoning amendments that, as I recall, are fairly remote from anywhere near our boundaries. So it's just a courtesy thing that they notify us because we're an interested party. Any new business?
I have nothing to report.
I have a question.
There you go. I was just going to ask if the board had anything. Go ahead, David.
Only I'm relatively new to this. If I'm representing Gorham, and I'm contacted by somebody in Gorham, do we meet with people from the public, or should it be through the normal meeting process here?
I guess that sort of depends on the nature of the question. If it's just an information question, then maybe you can handle it. Or if you don't feel comfortable, direct them to Carrie.
Well, no, it's somebody with issues, and they wanted to meet with me because they said, well, you're a representative of Gorham. Does that mean you meet with us? I wasn't so sure. So Carrie and I have discussed this, and she suggested I bring it up here and see what the group opinion was. So
What do you think, board members?
I can also reach out to the ministry to get clarification on that role of ours.
Yeah.
In this case too.
I'm inclined not to walk into the middle of something. By the same token, if I'm here representing the Gorham Township, I'm not sure when it comes to the public and them contacting, you don't want to put them off either. So kind of one of those. My comment was, if I'm going to meet, I'm going to meet with all sides of this party or all sides of this discussion and not just one side. So
That could be fun.
yeah, or not.
Exactly.
I think it depends probably too what their expectation of you after that meeting is. Do you then come to the board and
The impression I was given was it was an information session. They wanted to just relay information to me. But I do believe that if it would be something that they could relay that information to the entire board just as easily if the time ever presented itself. So
they could certainly request a deputation?
Comment, Gordon?
Yeah, I was going to suggest that they should have a deputation and not just pick on one board member. I know you represent them, but we also represent them because that's what Lakehead Rural Planning Board does. And therefore, you should tell them to put a deputation in, and we'll all listen to what they have to say.
well, I'm not even sure where this is at and whether it'll come back onto the agenda or not. So I suggested maybe they should let sleeping dogs lie for the moment.
Excuse me. Certainly as a representative for Gorham, it's not the equivalent of, for example, my position as a counselor for the township. Gordon is a counselor for the township. Alex is a counselor for the township. We have defined roles in the municipal act. I'm not sure exactly what your job description is, to tell you the honest truth.
Well,
There
I'm
must have been something in the ad that would give you some guidance around it, but I'm inclined to go with Gordon's suggestion that if they've got an issue that they wish to raise, it's probably better to either come to us as a deputation or submit any documentation they wish, just correspondence. We deal with correspondence as well.
right. Okay. Well, maybe I'll go back and reread the information I got at day one and
Yep.
see if there's anything in there. Okay. No, that's good.
We'll help you any way we can, though.
And it was one of those things I just wasn't sure where I should go, so I was
That's fine.
diplomatic.
If it's not clear after you read the documentation that you received when you were assigned the role, I can also contact the ministry and see if I
Right.
can find out anything else.
All right, thanks, Carrie. Okay, that's it.
Any other new business from the board?
Just wondering where we're going with the tender for the new Gorman Ware plan. Is there been any response at all?
There has been no response. I think the next move is to maybe pick a few companies that I'm aware of and contact them directly to see if it's an option. The issue is we are seeking basically a request for a quote. We need to know how much it's going to cost us before we know how much, like, or who is going to do it for us.
Yeah.
So I can contact a couple firms or companies that do this type of thing and see what kind of financial requirement there's going to be. Because then we still have the burden of applying for funding through the ministry and seeing what options there are to have funding for something like that. So if that's what the board wants me to do, I can certainly do that.
It just seems odd that there's been no expression of interest in putting forth a proposal. They just don't want the business. They're too busy.
I mean, well, in every other case, like contractors, engineers and everything, it seems like they're overwhelmed. It's a seller's market right now. I don't know if that would be true in something like this. I don't know if every township is doing their official plan and zoning reviews right now. It was odd to not receive any response whatsoever, but it's also a request for a quote, not a request for a proposal work. I don't know if that makes a difference or not, but I can certainly reach out to a few places and see if I can get any information for the next meeting.
Gordon?
Be a bit cheeky. I asked Vicky Kwasny just to write it. I said, they're the ones that review it, edit it, send it back to us anyways, and the province is paying for it and they're paying them. So when they just write it and send us their draft and we'll review and comment on it. So
Sounds good.
it's at the end of the day, it's the same thing, except we save a lot of money.
Yeah.
Right. She wasn't giving me a positive answer.
That sounds like a reasonable next step, Carrie, to reach out to a few potential suppliers and just get some clarification. Are they not interested, or what the problem, and
Yeah, I've worked with a few
go
before.
from there.
Yeah, I can contact a few.
Other questions from the board? Okay, do we have a closed session tonight?
I don't have anything that I need a closed session for. I didn't know if any members of the board did.
All right. Anything, board members, that you wish to discuss in camera?
No,
Do you want me
Then
to-
I think we're ready for that one that everybody wants to move in second.
All right, the resolution reads that the September 1st, 2022 regular meeting of the Lakehead Rural Planning Board be adjourned, the time being 5:54 PM.
A mover and a seconder. We should put Mr. Campoff's name on that just to prove he was here. Axel can second it then. And I'm sure no one's opposed. So thanks very much, everybody.
Excellent meeting, Rudy.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you. See you next month.
Have a good weekend.
See you at the fair.